This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming.
So this is a video that's been requested for a while. In Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, there are several guns and weapons that you can acquire that allow you to heal while dealing damage to your enemies. The lifesteal ability makes these guns truly exceptional at both low and high levels, regardless of your playthrough for both Borderlands 2 and even Borderlands the pre-sequel. While we didn't get as many Moxxi weapons in Borderlands the pre-sequel, Borderlands 2 has plenty of Moxxi weapons for your character to acquire and use. Top 8 Moxxi and healing guns and weapons in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. Let's go. Number 8, the Crit. Alright guys, so I know this SMG made my top 8 worst designed SMGs in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel video, but the Crit is actually fairly good despite its absolutely retarded ability to randomly drop while you're reloading. Between the Good Touch, Bad Touch, and Crit SMGs, I would say the Crit does have the best stats despite that awful random dropping while reloading mechanic. The only other really annoying thing about the Crit is that it is a quest reward for the side quest mission that's a part of the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keeps DLC, Critical Fail. In this mission, there is a scripted event where you have to die if you're on single player. Now, if you are on co-op, somebody can revive you, but honestly, I think this is really annoying. Then when you get a chance to finally pick up the Crit SMG, it randomly flies away until you chase it to only have it fly away again. The Crit only appears in Borderlands 2. Number 7, the Ruby. The Ruby is a pretty solid pistol and was the definitive healing pistol before the Grog Nozzle came out with the Assault on Dragon's Keep DLC. The Ruby's healing effect is passive and heals the player for 12% of all damage dealt to enemies. Unlike the Grog Nozzle, the Ruby can still be used as a combat weapon and is roughly on par with the Infinity Pistol when it comes to damage per shot, not necessarily damage per second, where the Infinity wins out. The Ruby is obtained by delivering the booze you collect to Moxxi upon completing the Rackaholics Anonymous quest in Borderlands 2. You have a choice between receiving the Ruby or the Sloth sniper rifle from Mordecai, which is also a very good weapon. Since the Rackaholics Anonymous quest is only in Borderlands 2, you can only receive the Ruby in Borderlands 2. Number 6, the Slow Hand. The Slow Hand and the Omen shotgun are the only E-Tech shotguns that are worth the time and effort to farm for in Borderlands 2. The reason the Slow Hand is worth getting is because it has no projectile arc after a certain distance, and like other Moxxi weapons, the Slow Hand heals the user for damage dealt. While the healing percentage is lower than the Ruby, the Slow Hand is a better weapon than the Ruby, and like the Ruby, it also heals passively, so if you throw a grenade, you'll heal off the damage that deals. The only problem with the Slow Hand is that the reload speed can vary greatly and severely reduce your DPS. However, if you have a Fire Slow Hand and you're playing as Krieg, spec'd into the Blood-Filled Gun skill and Nervous Blood skill, you can increase the weapon's magazine size while negating the reload speed to some degree. Basically, with these combined with other skills like Pain as Power and Elemental Empathy, you can make the Slow Hand pretty powerful, and you can also boost its healing abilities and just overall damage. The Slow Hand, of course, only appears in Borderlands 2. Number 5, the Kitten. The Kitten is one of the only assault rifles in the game that fires multiple projectiles per shot, with other notable assault rifles being the Varuk, Jacob's Gatling gun, and the Dull Double Tap rifle. Also, thanks to its innate healing ability, the Kitten might just be one of the better or more desirable assault rifles in Borderlands 2. The Kitten is also a good alternative to the Hale Moxxi assault rifle, especially if you're playing on the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 versions of Borderlands 2 and don't have access to a field of view slider to help with the arcing projectiles on the Hale. The Kitten is also much easier to acquire in Borderlands 2 than the Hale, as you simply have to complete the Everybody Wants to Be Wanted side quest mission from the Torg DLC, which basically consists of placing posters at various locations. Unlike the Hale, the Kitten only appears in Borderlands 2. Number 4, the Vibrapulse. The Vibrapulse is a unique Moxxi laser that heals for 2.5% of damage dealt. It also is what, in my opinion, is the best type of laser in Borderlands the pre-sequel, as it contains the Maliwan Beam laser barrel, which always contains a continuous damage bonus. As long as you keep hitting a target, you will continue to deal more damage up to the percentage cap listed on the item card. The Vibrapulse is strong enough to where you can use it reliably through a significant remainder of your first playthrough of Borderlands the pre-sequel. While the Vibrapulse only comes in shock element is much more useful in Borderlands the pre-sequel thanks to Athena's Maelstrom stack skill, where you can basically get a lot of stacks of Maelstrom and significantly improve your elemental damage. Obviously, since the Vibrapulse is a laser, it only appears in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Number 3. The Heartbreaker. The Heartbreaker can appear in both Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. While the Borderlands 2 variant is quite good, the Heartbreaker is arguably better in the pre-sequel thanks to Athena's Maelstrom skill, which further boosts fire damage. Not only can you get a lot of damage out of the Heartbreaker in Borderlands the pre-sequel, but you can use it to quickly gain those Maelstrom stacks, as mentioned earlier, on Athena. Keep in mind, too, that when you trigger a damage over time effect that's fire, with the Heartbreaker, you're also going to be healing off of that damage over time effect, and you're also going to be gaining more Maelstrom stacks as a result of that as well. Of course, while the Heartbreaker is really powerful in Borderlands the pre-sequel, there is no designated drop area yet for the Heartbreaker in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Now, there is a possibility that you can get it in the future, as some of the previously unobtainable weapons can now drop from various loot sources. I believe the Hale was previously unobtainable, and now the machine can appear in some places, particularly vending machines, and sometimes it can just drop at random. Now, for Borderlands 2, the Heartbreaker is much easier to acquire, as it is a quest reward by completing the Safe and Sound side quest mission. As mentioned previously, you can get the Heartbreaker in both games. You just might need to use a save editor in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Number 2. The Hale Assault Rifle. The Hale is one of my favorite weapons from both Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel. The bullet arc is pretty bizarre, but once you get used to aiming slightly downward and firing up to get the projectiles to hit accurately, you can deal a lot of damage with the Hale. Not only does the Hale heal the player for 3% of damage dealt, it also has very high critical hit damage for an assault rifle, has splash damage, and after a certain distance, the initial projectile splits into two, making it quite deadly if you can gauge the distance properly. The Hale is somewhat difficult to get in Borderlands 2, and you have to beat the round 5 of the Bandit Slaughter in the fridge. Because you have to survive several phases, round 5 can be hard to beat during single-player play. In the pre-sequel, however, you can simply kill Iwajira, who has a chance to drop it at random. This also makes it easy to acquire several variants without resetting your playthroughs for Ultimate Vault Hunter mode in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Number 1. The Grog Nozzle. Without a doubt, the Grog Nozzle has to be the best Moxxi pistol, gun, or weapon from any of the Borderlands games so far. Mostly that's because of the 65% healing for damage dealt, which can be passed to other weapons, the increased critical hit damage, which can also be passed to other weapons, and the ability to make the player drunk, which decreases fire rate but adds an additional 5 projectiles to each shot without consuming additional ammo. This is another effect that can be passed to other weapons, and is particularly effective with like Norfleets, where you can get drunk and then quickly swap to a Norfleet fire and the projectiles like fill the screen. It's pretty awesome. The Grog Nozzle officially dropped during the $100,000 loot hunt on the 6th day during the last week of the event. Otherwise, you'll need to not complete the Beard That Makes the Man side quest mission that's a part of the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep DLC if you would like to keep one on you at all times. Anyway guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like. And as always, take care and I'll see y'all next time.